If you're here for the North Bend School Board meeting, you're in the right place. Okay, flag pledge. Flag to left. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic. Okay, thank you. We'll have a roll call. Let's see. I see Eric Cleason, Steve Ryan, Christina Simpson, Julie Feast, and your guest host tonight, Jim Jordan. Okay. Item 2, approval of the agenda. Is there a motion or any comments on the agenda?
I did have one comment, and that was on item 6B and the board meeting dates and work schedule, work session schedule. Since we have meetings on September 8th and tonight, September 15th, was there a reason to have September 29th work session also?
It is a regularly scheduled work session, but if someone wants to make a motion to not have that work session on the 29th of September, I'm certainly open to that.
We don't currently have anything planned
Okay.
ahead of time.
Motion.
I
Okay.
second it.
Okay, there's a motion to remove the
The
work session from September 29th. We have a first and a second. Okay, vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Nay? Okay. 29th of September work session is removed. Okay. Now, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Second, okay. There is a motion to approve the agenda. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay. Motion is approved. Okay, item 3 on the agenda, public participation. The board welcomes comments and questions from the public. If you wish to address the board, please fill out a public participation sheet available at the table and give it to the board secretary. We ask that you limit your comments to 3 minutes. If more than one person will be addressing the same topic, we ask that you appoint a spokesperson to speak for the group. Speakers may offer objective criticism of school operations and programs, but the board will not hear comments regarding individual school personnel. So with that, we have one public participation comment. Jill Mitchell. Hey, Jill, you can come sit right at the front table. Thank you.
I'm Jill Mitchell. I live in North Bend, graduated from North Bend. There is something on social media about inter-district kids. So I thought I better come and speak. Oh, is that on? Okay. That's been tried since 1950. I feel that inter-district, case by case, it should be looked at. We lived in Coos Bay. My daughter went to North Bend. We bought a house, built a house in North Bend. I support North Bend. You have a lot of people out that don't live in North Bend that still support North Bend. And I really think you guys, if you're going to close the doors, really think about that. Other thing is, I don't know where you guys all work, but if you live in North Bend and you work in Coos Bay, Coquille, Reedsport, and you are told you have to sell and move where your employer is, I don't think you would do that. So I think you really need, as a board, think about, don't close the doors. There's a lot of kids that need it. Don't know if it's true that you guys are thinking about it, but I think it needs to be addressed. Thank you.
Thank you, Jill. So I think Jill's comment is around inter-district transfers from outside into North Bend. Is that correct? Yeah, that's, as far as I know, that's allowed.
The comment was about leaving the district, and I responded on social media tonight, just a little bit ago, that the board took this up in the spring, had a conversation, decided not to take any action. It's not planned to take any action by the district nor the board that I'm aware of. So I'm not sure where that came from in social media, but I did comment on there that we respect parents' right to choose their school district, both in the district and out.
We fixed one problem already, Jill. Thank you. Okay, thank you. All right, item 4, thank yous. The board would like to thank Midcoast Mustang and Ford Club for their generous donation of backpacks. Club donated 3 backpacks for girls, 3 for boys for the K through 6 grade levels. In addition, they donated 3 packs for girls and 3 packs for boys for the 7th through 12th grade levels. The board would like to thank Oregon Bay Area Jeep Club for their generous donation of school supplies to include backpacks, crayons, markers, pencils, pens, 3-ring binders, and other miscellaneous items. The board would like to thank Bay Area Sportsman Association for the incredible donation of $5,000 toward the Clyde Allen scoreboard. And the board would like to thank Seroptimus International of Coos Bay for their donation of $960 to be spent toward the closed closet program. Item E, the board would like to thank the North Bend School Foundation for the following: $1,500 grant to the band grant for drum harnesses, $4,500 for science techs and supplies for LabQuest 3s. And the last item F, the board thanks an anonymous donor for her generous donation of $2,000 toward the football helmets. Okay, great. Thank you all for that. Item 5, communications board. I have 5A, board reports and communication. Your silence is no reports. 5B, student representatives to the board, Mr. Mike Forrester.
Well, I have with me tonight our new school board reps for the year from the North Bend High School student body. Both these young men ran for ASB offices or class officers positions this year. My right, I have Taylor Thompson, who's a sophomore at North Bend High School. Taylor is a ton of energy and will be more than happy to answer any question that you have, I promise. And Thomas Moffett to my left is a senior at North Bend High School. He's going to be the more analytical one here and probably keep Taylor in line when he gets to rambunctious. So anyway, both great young men and excited to have them here with you this year. And we're going to let them. This is this is kind of a tough deal for these guys. They get up here, they come into my office a day or two ahead of time. We give them a little script of things that, hey, here's some stuff we can talk about. Typically, the students just take it and go with it. To their credit, I shared a Google Doc with them, and lo and behold, there was a whole bunch more stuff on there when I looked at it later on. So anyway, good deal. The other thing I would like to mention, just so everybody knows, there was a thank you on there for $5,000 from the Bay Area Sportsmen's Association for a new scoreboard over at Clyde Allen Field. So that you know, there are 4 other individuals who we will thank later on for an equal donation of $5,000. So we were able to purchase a new scoreboard over there. So we'll get to them next month. So you guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you.
So I'm a member of the North Bend marching drum line, and I really thank you guys for those harnesses. The bass drums really appreciate it. It's a nice thing that we have those now. Fall sports have started. We have nearly 200 students participating in athletics and another 55 in the marching band. And the marching band will be marching in the Fun Festival Parade.
This Friday, our football team travels to Marshfield to play at 7. Adult tickets are $6 and student tickets are $4 without an activity sticker and $1 for students with activity stickers. This will be the 144th meeting of our football teams.
Last Friday night, our football team traveled to Willamette High School, where we won 27-20. The win was North Bend High School's 500th win as a program. Congratulations to Coach Prince and his staff, to our players that they accomplished. Congratulations should also go out to anyone who has coached football at the North Bend High School and all the young people who have played football at our school. It was a great day to be a Bulldog.
Our volleyball team is playing tonight at Marist High School and then traveling to Acadia on Friday night for a tournament on Saturday.
For the first time in many
Yes.
years, our soccer program has enough students to field a junior varsity team. We have a schedule for this co-ed team of 10 games.
Next Friday, September 23rd, we will be our of Fame ceremony, where we will be inducting 5 new members. Those individuals are Eugene Holmes, who graduated in 1919 and was NBHS's first state track champion. Former North Bend High School swimming coach Chris Richmond, who won 4 state titles. Kelly Homestead Armstrong, who was an all-state volleyball and basketball player and golfed at Eastern Washington University. Cameron Lucero, who was an all-state football player and was the player of the year in basketball his senior year and won a state title and set a school record in the 400 relay. Rachel Heaney, who was an outstanding swimmer that won multiple state championships, set state meet records, and swam in college at Boise State University.
Next is North Bend Fire Department for helping clean our bleachers before our in-service training and our first home football game.
Bay Area Fun Festival float parade starts at 1.
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. When's the fun festival? Is that tomorrow? Starts tomorrow?
Yes, that's gonna be Saturday
Okay.
at 1.
Saturday. All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, 5C Association reports, North Bend Educational Association.
Hello, everyone. My name is Eva Varga. I looked on the agenda online earlier this evening, and it said Christina would be presenting on behalf of the North Bend Education Association. And I just wanted to let you know that I am the new president. So I should have my name there. Not that I want to advertise that, but anyway, so it's a pleasure for me to be here once again on behalf of the association. We have now had our students back in our buildings for a week, and the halls are filled with enthusiasm and exuberance. We'd like to take a minute to express our gratitude to all of the new employees, educational assistants and support staff, teachers, administrators, and the new staff at the district office whose work ethic, compassion, and creative problem solving have collaboratively helped to smooth those turbulent waters that begin every new school year. While the Northwest Evaluation Association suggests that children in kindergarten through 12th grade programs are beginning to bounce back from the pandemic's negative impact on academic achievement, full recovery is projected to take years. And so we continue to work alongside our students to develop both growth mindset and the skills that they will need to be successful in their school, both academically and emotionally. At the elementary level, our teachers are working tirelessly to familiarize themselves with the new English language arts curriculum that we've recently adopted into reading. And they've are beginning to use it with their students. And as expected with all new programs, it takes a tremendous amount of time to dive into all of the components, to feel comfortable with the delivery of those components, and to, spend time planning lessons. So the teachers are often working late into each night, lesson planning and preparing materials. At the secondary level, the graduating class of 2026 enjoyed Bulldog Day last week, which was a full day of small group activities and assemblies and a campus tour with upperclassmen who were serving as guides. The high school staff even joined the students for an informal lunch, which allowed them to get to know one another better. And I was able to participate in that. And there was a lot of remarks from the students that they enjoyed that, and they liked being on campus without any of the other students there, so they could feel more comfortable and find their way around on that first day. I'd also like to highlight an opportunity that I am striving to launch for our graduates called the Oregon Seal of Biliteracy or Multiliteracy. In Coos County, not a single student has earned it yet. And so I want to make that change. The Seal of Biliteracy is earned by a student by, of course, achieving their normal, graduating, they have to demonstrate proficiency in English language. But they would also need to demonstrate proficiency reading, writing, listening, and speaking in a second language, or in some cases, it may be their first language. And so this is available to all students, not just the English language learners that I typically serve, but it would also be available to students who, like myself, started learning a second language while I was in high school and, graduated. And so to demonstrate proficiency, they need to take a test, essentially. And depending on what language they're being tested in Chinese, for example, I have familiarity with that one because my daughter did it. She had to take, there was only one test available, the AP Chinese Language and Culture exam. If you're wanting to get the biliteracy seal in Spanish, there are a multitude of tests and options for you. But there's also opportunities in native languages, and indigenous languages and so forth. But they need to, again, demonstrate proficiency in all levels. So they're fully fluent, not just speaking, but reading, writing, and oral comprehension, and so forth. So there are at present, I know of 3 students at North Bend High School who are planning to take one of those exams this year, and so that they can achieve that. One is a senior, so he's hoping to do it by graduation, and the other 2 are juniors, and so they have a little flexibility in terms of when they take the test. And then I've been hearing that there's other students throughout the county who are interested, and a number of students at North Bend who are interested. So I just want to let you know that I'm trying to make that happen. One of the things that would be helpful for that is to encourage SWOC to administer the CLEP exam. Right now, the nearest location for students to take that test is in Roseburg or Eugene. And so that puts a hardship on our students if they want to take the test. So thank you for allowing me a moment to speak with you this evening. And if you want to talk about the seal of biliteracy at any time, I would be happy to answer those questions.
Thank you. Okay, 5D Superintendent Report, Kevin Bogatin.
Thank you. Well, so I'm going to start tonight with just enrollment. Enrollment trends are always on our radar, especially as we start a new school year. Tonight, I'm pleased to report that our K-12 attendance as of today is 2,138, which is 14 students higher than our 21-24 students we built the 22-23 budget around. Last year, we ended with an enrollment of 2,118. In 2013, the district enrollment was 2,078, and we saw a steady increase in enrollment, hitting a peak of 2,346 in 2019, just prior to the pandemic. We'll continue to monitor district-wide enrollment and patterns throughout the school year. This fall, our athletes return to the fields and courts with hopes and dreams of being competitive, but also growing as student athletes, teammates, and people. Our students and activities come together to perform, challenge one another, and create meaningful experiences. Today, a joint statement was released by the Oregon Department of Ed, the Oregon School Activities Association, the Coalition of Oregon School Administrators, the State Board of Education, and the Oregon School Boards Association, expressing a commitment to ensuring these sports and activities are free from harassment and bullying. I'd like to share part of that statement this evening. Communities throughout Oregon and North Bend specifically rely on student activities and athletic events to be a safe haven of support and collegiality. These activities are important places where students, families, and staff can come together with pride and enthusiasm that comes with community competition and celebration. At each event that happens at school, so many people have shared their time and energy to make a great experience for everyone who attends. Students put hours, weeks, and sometimes years into their performances, whether artistic, academic, or athletic. It takes us all working together to ensure that these activities remain welcoming and fun. Unfortunately, it only takes one incident to create a negative experience that can frighten and intimidate students and families, limit student participation, suppress volunteer interest, erode community support and reputation, and interfere with the benefits that that these activities would otherwise bring to everyone involved. It only takes one incident to impart long-lasting harm to an individual or community. Since before 2019 and continuing into recent years, OSAA, ODE, and our district have become aware of increasing negativity, bullying, and even hate speech and symbols entering into these activities. We are dedicated to preventing and responding to harassing conduct. Harassing conduct may take many forms, including verbal intimidation and name calling, graphic and written statements, which include use of cell phones or the internet, costumes or other physical expressions, or other conduct that may be physically threatening, harmful, or humiliating. Harassment does not include intent to harm, be directed at a specific person or group, or involve repeated incidents. Each person who is at a school event is able to help make it great. School administrators, event managers, and athletic directors are required to enforce our existing policies and set their own proactive measures to prevent harassment. They must have a plan in place to discourage and respond to negative behavior. Students can walk into events ready to cheer on their peers without bringing negativity towards others. Spectators and adults must set a good example by lifting people up, not tearing people down. I'm confident that our student athletes, spectators, and coaches and visitors will show up to our events and cheer on our athletes and performers in a positive and supportive manner. Bulldog and Bull Pup athletics and activities have a rich and proud tradition, and we must all remain committed to being positive role models for our students. This year promises to be exciting for everyone, and I hope the community will come out to cheer and voice their support at many athletic and activities throughout the year. Go Bulldogs. The American Foundation for Suicide Prevention recognizes the month of September as National Suicide Prevention Month, a moment in time which we rally the public to create awareness of this leading cause of death and inspire more and more people to learn how they can play a role in their communities in helping to save lives. Suicide prevention is important every day of the year. National Suicide Prevention Month gives us an opportunity to shine a special, encouraging light on this topic that affects us all and send a clear, hopeful message that help is available and suicide can be prevented. The North Bend School community is invited to join me and others from the district at this year's Out of the Darkness Community Walk to prevent suicide on Saturday, September 24th at 10 a.m. at Mingus Park in the amphitheater in Coos Bay. Individuals can register by going to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. They have a website at afsp.org, and then there's a link on there, find a walk near you. And so please join us. Kids with challenging behavior are tragically misunderstood and mistreated. Rewards and punishments don't work and often make things worse. Thankfully, there's another way, but it requires a big shift in mindset. Helping kids with challenging behaviors requires understanding why they struggle in the first place. But what if everything we thought it was true about challenging behavior was actually wrong? The collaborative problem-solving approach recognizes what research has pointed out for years, that kids with challenging behavior are already trying hard. They don't lack the will to behave well, they lack the skill to behave well. This fall, prior to staff officially returning to the building, 24 of our district staff joined staff from Coos Bay. And I thank you for the Coos Bay team for the invitation to learn more about collaborative problem solving, also called CPS. These 24 members joined at least 10 others who were trained this summer as part of the Coos County System of Care Grant and others who were trained last year. CPS helps adults shift to a more accurate and compassionate mindset and embrace the truth that kids do well if they can, rather than the important common belief that kids do well if they simply wanted to. Flowing from this simple but powerful philosophy, CPS focuses on building skills like flexibility, frustration tolerance, and problem solving, rather than simply motivating kids to behave better. The process begins with identifying triggers to a child's challenging behavior and the specific skills they need help developing. The next step involves partnering with the child to build those skills and develop lasting solutions to problems that work for everyone. The district will continue to offer training and ongoing support to those already trained, and we continue to support students with challenging behaviors. Oregon Virtual Academy is off to a bit of a bumpy start this year. Their enrollment for 22-23 school year is around 1,300, which is 400 students below their projected enrollment. As the board knows, schools and districts build their spring budgets based upon enrollment projections. This discrepancy is noted by ORVA, and they have indicated that they will be adjusting staffing and expenditures in alignment with reduced funding. They are also experiencing some board turnover. About a week ago, 4 members of the ORVA board resigned, leaving 3 remaining board members. Their executive director, Jamie Stiles, is still with ORVA and is helping guide the board through this transition process. ORVA is currently looking for volunteers to serve on their board, and more information can be found on their website. It's oregonvirtual.org, or you can contact their executive director. You do not need to be affiliated with ORVA to be part of the board. They are looking for a broad range of individuals with a wide range of skills and abilities willing to help shape the future of online education and Oregon's premier virtual school, Oregon Virtual Academy. And finally, tonight's is Amy Elliott's last meeting as my executive assistant and secretary to the board. On behalf of the North Bend School District, I want to thank her for her service to the district. We haven't worked together for very long, but Amy made a meaningful impact in her tenure with us. Amy has accepted a position with the Oregon Department of Education, and I want to wish her success on this new opportunity. Tomorrow is her official last day in the district. Feel free to stop by the office and wish her well.
You will be missed. Just one question around the harassment in the sports. Are parents required if your student plays a sport to attend Mr. Forrester's class where you show the video and kind of get that talk?
I don't think they're the visitors or parent. I think most of our parent athletes and activities they attend. You can respond.
Only after, so we only require them to watch the video if they're.
Oh, okay.
But their sportsmanship is talked about, I think, pretty frequently with
Okay.
a lot of our folks. So
There's mandated before every varsity contest, there's a public address, read over PA system.
yeah, these events that have occurred, and if you follow, I think I've tried to share out the Oregon Education News. These incidents that occur across the state, and there's usually a handful every year, generate a ton of kind of media attention. So I wanted to at least bring our attention to it. And again, we haven't had an incident, and I'm thankful to our great community. So.
Okay, thank you, Kevin.
Yeah.
Okay, item 6 on the agenda, action/consent agenda items. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Move to approve this consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay, we've got a first and a second to approve the consent agenda. All in favor, say aye. Aye. That was unanimous. That was passed. Item 7, 2022 summer school review. Bruce Martin.
I'm gonna let Joe bring it up on the screens here. We should be ready to go. Go ahead. Well, as Joe's bringing it up on the screen here, I just want to talk a little bit about it. So this is the second year we've had a summer school program. The first year we had it, it was, we delved into it, not really with any previous experience in it. And coming out of COVID, we wanted to give all students an experience that brought them back into school and made them feel more comfortable coming back into school, having not attended school for a while. This year, as we moved into it, we found that the funding was reduced. And we knew we wouldn't be able to serve all kids. And we wanted to make sure we had some key focuses. You know, the board gave us a little bit of direction and the state gave some direction on what we needed to focus on. Our key focuses we really wanted to look at was unfinished learning for students, closing that learning gap for those kids that had that tremendous impact by COVID, and serving those students that were most at risk. And we really wanted to improve the academics of those kids coming in. And we also, knowing that those kids typically had a bigger summer loss than a lot of kids did at that time, we wanted to minimize that loss that occurred over the summertime when they weren't in school. So those were our major focuses as we started into the summer program. With that, we got a core group of people together and we looked at program design. How are we going to do this? We knew some things and took some lessons we learned from last year in summer school, and we decided we'd incorporate those into the program this year. We aligned programs to allow for common transportation routes, which meant we wouldn't be able to do all 4 schools. So our elementary program was housed at Hillcrest, and then the middle school had a program and the high school had a program. This allowed us to pick kids up from anywhere in the district, drop them off at the elementary school, start the program there, and then 15 to 20 minutes later, start the program at the middle school and high school. So we had a maximization of our resources available there, and we were able to serve a larger area with our transportation. Amazing enough, we found that it didn't impact kids north of the bridge. We probably gained a few at the middle school and the middle school area from we had in previous times, and it didn't impact the North Bay population out there. We actually had, I think, more students from North Bay attending summer school than we did from Hillcrest. And we identified kids based upon the need that they had from end of the year testing. So we identified those kids, we called, we made parent phone calls, we sent emails out in the K-8 model, and we really worked hard to get those kids involved in that summer school program that had the biggest need in there. Teachers made contacts oftentimes. We had administrators doing that. We had a variety of people making those personal contacts to do it. And we ranged somewhere from 50 to 60% of the kids we contacted attended summer school in there. Design of the summer school, we knew needed to be flexible. We knew that teachers, there weren't very many teachers that wanted to work 5 weeks. So we knew that. So we had to make a program that allowed for that. The teachers could work 1 week if they wanted to, they could work 5 weeks, or they could work anywhere in between that they needed to. But we wanted kids to attend all 5 weeks. If we wanted growth in kids, we had to have them there for 5 weeks. And we're going to share some data with you. So you'll see some of the growth that we had during that time. We wanted to provide breakfast and lunch to all students, which we were able to do. And one of our goals was also to provide an orientation between buildings for those grades that were transitioning. So our 5th grade students last year actually attended summer school at the middle school as incoming 6th graders. So these are the kids, some of them that struggled a little bit, had some problems and may have had some problems. They didn't all have problems, but had some problems, acclimating in there. And we wanted to minimize that transition for those kids in there and let them get to know some adults in that building. So we did that with those 6th grade students. We did the same thing with 8th grade students going to the high school. So we had some 8th grade students that attended high school, actually earned credit during the summertime and came in with credit in there. We wanted to make sure, and the last thing is we wanted to make sure we had an emphasis on academic improvement. We really wanted to focus on that and we wanted to incorporate that in there. At the same time we had academic improvement, we wanted them coming back the next day. So we knew we couldn't do drill and kill. So we had to have some fun in there as well. But we had a serious emphasis on academic improvement over what we had in previous years. So I think overall, the summer program was a tremendous success for those folks and the families that participated in that. And we were really encouraged by our results. Today, I have 3 folks that are going to talk about each of the programs. Lisa Harden was our TOSA at the elementary level. Riley Grananetti was a TOSA at the middle school level, and Corey Gall was a TOSA at the high school level. And they're going to talk about each of those programs and share some data from the programs with you. Lisa?
Okay, like Bruce said, the elementary program serves students from Hillcrest and North Bay Elementary School at the Hillcrest campus to allow for more streamlined busing and to allow students to have access to a wider variety of topics. We also needed to house the program in one building to provide for adequate staffing. At the elementary level, 148 students took part in a 5-week program. Students were invited based on teacher recommendations and spring assessment data. The invitees were those students who showed greater academic and or social needs and were invited through phone calls and emails from the teaching staff. A high number of students with identified IEPs and 504s took part in the program. And our average daily attendance was 75%, as many students had planned vacations and other planned absences during the summer. This is different from last year's program, where we served about 500 elementary students who may have only attended 1 or 2 weeks of a summer program. We also had a splash into kindergarten program at North Bay and Hillcrest. This program invites incoming kindergarten students to a 1-week session at their home campus so they can learn routines and expectations prior to their first official day of kindergarten. 2 1-week sessions were held at North Bay and 2 1-week sessions were held at Hillcrest. The breakdown of a student's day is on the slide here. The small group instruction in reading and math was personalized to meet the educational needs of students based on spring performance data. The educational activities also included many fun activities to make sure students were excited to come to summer school each day. Students stayed in static groups and teachers worked with different groups to ensure students were able to take part in a variety of programs. Also, some teachers were unable to work all 5 weeks. Entering classrooms during summer school, I saw a lot of great reading and math instruction, but I also witnessed students engaged in many fun educational activities such as flying drones, baking, using microscopes to explore marine life. This is just a short list of the many extension activities they did. Here's some cute pictures of the kids having fun during summer school. Traditionally, students come into school in fall with learning loss over the summer. Participating in summer school helped to mitigate this loss. And comparing our spring dibbles data with our end of summer school assessment, not every student showed growth.
many of the students we work with take more time to show academic gains. For those students who did show growth, they had a range of 1 to 39 words per minute with the graph showing the median gain. Students use Chromebooks as part of their daily math fluency practice. On average, a student was able to show mastery or automatic recall of 8 new facts in one of the 4 areas of addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. Students were given a pre and post assessment of targeted grade level skills. And the average grade between the pre and the post assessment was between 10 and 25%. And here's Riley to talk about the middle school.
Oh. So for the middle school this summer, our enrollment was about 53 students, and we had 84% for the full 5 weeks of school, which was great because some of them were vacations that they already pre-planned and everything. But what stood out to us is we had 25 students with 100% attendance, Monday through Thursday for the full time. And the good thing is those students that had the 100% attendance, we saw struggle throughout the school year to get regular attendance with that. So some of the students excelled with summer school because of the less amount of students, I believe, at the school. Okay, so how the course layout that we did at the middle school, we wanted to make it look like a middle school day for the students, especially for the incoming 6th graders. So what we did is we made the 6th grade into 2 different groups, a yellow and a blue group, and kind of did a block schedule with them. We did the same thing with the 7th and 8th graders. They were kind of used to that already with what they did with the COVID year, and we did our block schedule with that. So 2 classes a day. So on a Monday, Wednesday, they would go to a math and science class. And then on Tuesday, Thursday, they would do an ELA or an outdoor education. We also had drama within the ELA as well, but that's just an example. Our class length was about 1 hour and 40 minutes. Teachers would give the students, a 5-minute break every once in a while for water, go walk hallways real quick. But it was nice to see the incoming 6th graders get familiar with the middle school because it can be kind of a big transformation and a new year for them. So I've seen some 6th graders this year already in the hallways kind of be more comfortable and familiar with the school, which is nice. Some of our courses we had were math, ELA, science, outdoor education, and drama. Okay, so with our 6th grade math, we did a lot of different things, but we really wanted to target some learning skills, number operations in base 10, place value, rounding decimal operations, and some fraction operations. Kind of an example of some data that we collected was rounding to decimal places. When we first started, we realized only about 20% of the students could do this out of the 6th graders. So we did a pre-test one-on-one with the teacher. And then we did a post-test the last week, and we saw that 80% of the students could do that. So it was a great increase for us. We did some fun math activities throughout the time. Like Bruce said, we wanted to also make it fun for them as educational as well. The biggest thing they did was a lemonade stand business. And they started this day 1 for a little bit. They researched how much ingredients could be, how much they could sell it for, the total amount they could possibly get, and things they could do with that. And so here's some fun pictures. Actually, they sold out in 2 hours because of the advertising we did for it. So it was a cool event for them, and the students had a lot of fun making the signs and everything. So the 7th and 8th grade math, same thing. We wanted to target learning skills that we saw, ratios, proportions, percents, equivalent expressions, etc. Some examples and data that we collected. Create equivalent of algebraic expressions. When we first got the students, we realized 21% could do this. At the end, 100% of those 7th and 8th graders were able to do that one-on-one with their teacher, which was great. They didn't get to do the lemonade stand. They were a little upset about that, but they were able to kind of make their own restaurant, and they did this with their teacher and kind of research how much stuff ingredients wise. So we wanted to make this a real life situation for them, like creating a business, and the students really enjoyed that, and they realized math can be fun at times as well. So okay, so the ELA and outdoor education part, we realized that we wanted to help them with their writing skills, and we wanted to make it with outdoor education. So we did do a field trip, and we partnered with science on this, and then we went to Golden Silver Falls, and they did plant identification. And what we did with that is during the science portion, we did plant identification. And then the next week when they had ELA, they made a brochure of the plants that they identified, and we worked on their sentence structures and their paragraph structures with that. And then with outdoor education, they learned their outdoor survival skills, knot tying, all those fun things with that. And also they made some research project presentations in the ELA, and they presented in front of their classmates. And with it being a smaller class size than what they're usually used to, it helped them build confidence with their public speaking. All right, and we tied in ELA with drama. Some drama that they did. They had this skit that was called Puffs, I believe it was, and they, in their drama class, they partnered up, they made their own characters, and they really worked on their nonverbal and verbal communication skills with drama, and they actually presented to their classmates the play that they learned in that quick week and a half that they had that. So it was kind of cool. They did that. They got on stage with their costumes and presented to the other classmates their drama. And this was good for them to build their confidence with their peers. Stage directions, they're something that they want to do. They went to the high school and looked at their stage compared to the middle school stage. Miss Skinner, who taught that class, was really good with showing them exactly how it works. So, and they learned some history about it and how what they used to do when there wasn't curtains back in the day. So. Okay, our science. Anatomy of squids, the dissection techniques. They built solar bot cars, so they got to learn how solar works. And then they also did some chemical reactions with coins and like some vinegar. It made the science hall smell great that week. But it was nice that they got to do those fun experiments in science, and always dissecting squid can be an interesting topic for them as well. And they learned how solar controls the cars and the bots that they made. And there's some pictures down there with the nice sunny weather that we had this summer. Okay, and then on the field trips that we did with science, we went on 4 different field trips, and we all tried to tie them into 2 different subjects. So it wasn't just science. We had ELA and science and outdoor education with them. We went to Golden Silver Falls, the hike falls with plant identification, with the Fossil Point, the collection of fossil sea creatures, and North Spit. The North Spit one, they collected driftwood, and then they made these sculptures. So that the 2 pictures in the middle and one on the right, they made those as a class, and they researched the correct measurements they needed to do, and then the science teacher helped them cut the wood, and they made those cool things on the North Spit. And then they went to Hall Lake to explore the lake trails and the Dune Lake education. So. All right, here's Corey.
Yeah, so the high school looked a little bit different than the rest of our buildings, in that we had students on kind of an as needed basis, what they needed to get done credit wise to attempt to get caught up and on track to graduate for the most part. We needed at times we needed to open it up to more NBHS students to try to get some of the classes filled, because more than anything, I think kids wanted a summer too. So I was able to convince 105 students that it was a good idea. And that took a lot of prodding, but so they participated in 1 or more classes. Yeah, we'll stay there. Classes at the high school for 1 credit took 2 weeks of half days. For 4 hours a day, they were in, or 3 hours a day, they were in that class, and so they were in that class for 8 days, and if they did everything they needed to, they got a credit in that area. And we heavily targeted students that were deficient. 85 of the students earned at least 1 credit in an area that they were deficient in for graduation. And we really targeted ones that were severely behind in the areas of math, English, not so much math, science, social studies, and fine and applied arts. Our average daily attendance is about 84% of the students that were assigned each week were there. For our English language arts, we had 2 different teachers teaching. I think they both taught 2 different classes. We had 49 ELA credits earned overall. That includes both of those classes, and there were a couple Edgenuity credit recovery ELA classes that were earned also. The ones that we had in person, we had a heroism class. And the students each picked a hero of theirs after kind of diving into what it takes to be a hero. They all had their own, and they created a presentation about who that was and presented it to the rest of the class. It was interesting to see what some of the kids were able to produce about somebody that before that, I don't know if they necessarily knew who. I mean, I sat in on the class a couple times and students didn't know who Jackie Robinson was and what he was famous for and why and what made him a hero. And hearing a student present on what made Jackie Robinson a hero was kind of moving. The other English class that we had in person was a Shakespeare based class. They read through and acted out parts of A Midsummer Night's Dream, and kind of laid back acting for high school students. They're pretty much sitting in their desk in assigned roles. But they had Mr. Peters taught that class, and he had ordered some things to get them in the right mood. He ordered them like if they needed a beard, they had a stick-on beard, and seeing kids read through that as not quite good enough to go with the vocal tone, but still they got into it, and it was interesting to see. Science wise, we had our Bridges science teacher teach 2 different marine biology classes. Those classes took a bunch of field trips. Not a bunch. They each took 2 over the 2 weeks, and they went out to the tide pools out at Cape Arago. One of the groups had a couple students with limited mobility, some mobility needs. So they didn't go that group didn't go down to Cape Arago. They went to the Charleston Marine Life Center, a little more mobile friendly. And I mean, they came back so excited. I'd never seen some of these kids so excited about digging clams until I, probably realized that some of them probably have never done that. And then also just kind of looking at what all different marine layers are involved, and what do you find as you go deeper. And so I only got a picture of one of, or I guess 2 of these little shadow boxes that they made, but her tables were full of different representations of the ocean. So we had 23 credits earned in those 2 classes. In social studies, we had 2 different classes go on. We had an America at War class. I think he was trying to get students interested in social studies, so he thought he'd talk about the different wars that America had been in. And then our other class was through the Coos History Museum. That one was a little bit different. Those students went for 1 week, but they went for the full day. So a little bit longer day. And I was pleased to see the first day of that class. We couldn't get a bus driver for their afternoon field trip. So yeah, I did that. And so I learned a lot more than, a lot of stuff that I wasn't aware of, even though living here most of my life. And it was interesting, and seeing Steve Greif back in a teaching role is always interesting too. But they had a really good time on their. So that class would typically learn, some history stuff, some museum stuff in the morning, and then in the afternoon they would go on these field trips, and they went really everywhere in Coos County that I wouldn't have known to find a bunch of historical items in. But they went down to Bandon and looked at the cranberry bogs. They went to they took one other trip down south, like Coquille and Myrtle Point, and looked at the old lumber mills and the shake mills. And so some of the kids, I know one of them they all made these presentations, these posters where they were supposed to be like museum pieces, and a museum display. And one of them made theirs on the timber industry. It was an interesting one. Was that Cameron? I thought so, yeah. I was so close to going down to Ocean Terminals and getting him a big hunk of firewood. He came in one day, they all needed an artifact in their presentation, and he came in with little, shavings of sticks. I was like, man, we could do better, but I never got around to it. And then we had a variety of CTE classes, career technical education. We had culinary, we had 2 culinary classes and a welding class to get kids ready for, for the working world. And those counted as fine arts credits. And with needing 9 of those to graduate, it helped a lot of kids out. So kind of the last class that I'll talk about, we had our freshman transition class. That was a big focus of ours years ago. And I don't think it's a whole lot different now, but years ago, Gary Prince had his freshman academy class that all freshmen were required to take that really taught them the ins and outs of the high school. They had scavenger hunts through the halls. And so he kind of brought all that stuff back out and used that with, we had 10 incoming freshmen in that class that earned that credit. And 3 of those 10 students also earned another credit. I didn't want to put them ahead in English or anything and give them too much of a leg up on the competition, but a lot of them took some of our CTE classes. And then we actually had 3 other incoming freshmen that loved their first CTE class so much in the first 2 weeks that they took another one while this class was going on. So we really had 13 incoming freshmen that were tagged as ones that really need help making that transition. Overall, we didn't do anything. The students earned 134.5 credits. The half came from a student that needed to be gone for the second week of a class. It was in the culinary class. We had a mix up of the weeks that we had to navigate, and they couldn't make it to that second week. So we gave them half credit there. And that was obviously earned in the 5 weeks. All but 18 of those credits were areas that students were lacking in credits. That 18 comes from the freshmen weren't lacking any credit, the incoming freshmen weren't lacking any credits, and a couple other students that were just interested in trying to get ahead. So they took some classes too. And we had some extra edgenuity classes. Some are around 30, some of them are still coming in. So yeah, I think that's all I got.
Any questions on summer school? Anybody?
A great presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Bruce and the summer school team for the academic focus. Appreciate that. Good. Thank you. Okay, next up on the agenda, item 8, Oregon School Employees Association, Chapter 26 contract. Tim Kreider.
Hello. Yeah, I do want to also throw out a big thank you for the summer school planning team and the teachers and classified staff members have participated in that, because it was a great show of what we do for our students in North Bend, and many districts around the state were not able to pull off summer school this year. So it's just another example of how hard our staff work to support our students, which is fantastic. Oregon School Employee Association, we went into Chapter 26. We went into negotiations for a successor agreement starting in March 4th. I want to thank the OSCA bargaining team, Peter Campbell, Marty McAllister, Cassandra Shepard, Danny Johnson, Toby Simmons, Lisa Nelson, Karen Hensler, and Jenna Brelage, and Keisha Everts for their efforts in supporting and representing OSCA. They did a fabulous job bargaining for their classified employee union, and we do appreciate their efforts. I also want to thank the district team, Paul DeCopolis, Jim Jordan, Julie Thies, Kevin Bogatin, myself, Marina Wright, Michelle Cook, Bruce Martin, and Anna Bergmeyer. A lot of effort went into this on both sides. So I did speak to Marty earlier today. They had voted to ratify on the new agreement, and today they received the results at 98.7% approval by their union, which I know was a number we were waiting for. I think of the biggest things that came out of this were for the classified staff is everybody's receiving 3% COLA. What that translates to is employees between years 1 and 5 receive a 7% increase because they'll receive a step and a COLA. We also added 2 additional longevity steps. We realized that maintaining our current staff and focusing on longevity really benefits the district and the students. So we added a longevity step at year 5. So those employees will between years 6 and 10 will receive a 3% COLA and a 3% longevity. Another one at 10 remained that was there before. So those employees will receive the 3% COLA, and then they're picking up the 5% from year 3% from year 5. So they're also getting a 6%. And those employees at 15 also get an additional longevity step. So they're picking up the 5-year 3% and the 15-year 3% and the 3% COLA. So they're getting a 9% raise. So we were very pleased to be able to provide this for our employees and also provide it in a way in which we feel we can sustain it. So tonight, the district is recommending that the board approve the agreement between North Bend School District and Oregon Schools Employee Association, Chapter 26. And I don't know if Marty made it in tonight. She has quite a drive, and she works really hard. So I think she's wasn't able to make it back. So thank you. Any questions?
Motion?
Will we make a motion?
I move to approve the agreement between the North Bend School District 13 and the Oregon Schools Employee Association, Chapter 26, from the term of July 1, 2022 through June 30, 2024. Go ahead and second that.
Okay, there is a motion to approve the agreement between North Bend School District number 13 and the Oregon Schools Employee Association, Chapter 26, for the term of July 1, 2022 through June 30th, 2024. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Nay? No nays. Okay. That is approved. Thank you, Tim, for your work and the team working on that. That was quite a few sessions spent together looking at each other.
Right.
Okay, next up, we have item 9, board vacancy candidate interviews. So little background, we have a total of 13 candidates for the position. I want to say that's a great interest from North Bend citizens, and I'd like to thank each candidate for stepping up and applying for this board position. Tonight, each candidate will be interviewed, and in the interest of time, be given a maximum of 4 minutes to answer several questions. The questions have not been released to the candidates. And each candidate will, or I think we'll ask all the candidates to step outside of the council chambers, and Bruce Martin will escort I think we have 12 candidates in person and 1 joining us through Zoom. And yeah, so Bruce will manage folks coming in for each interview. And our administrative assistant, or one of her last acts, she will be reading the interview questions, and Joe will be running the 4-minute clock. And yeah, following the interviews, the board will vote, and it takes 4 votes are required for a candidate to be appointed to the board. And there may be multiple votes on that. We'll just see how that goes. So with that, I think we're ready to get started. And the order we were going to follow is going to be, we'll start with Sammy Pearson because she is joining us via Zoom. And then after that, we will, as applied. So if you applied, looks like the second person would be Michelle Roberts, would be number 2. So we'll just go in that order. Thank you, folks. Okay, well, in that event, why don't we move ahead with the next candidate, which would be, okay, sounds good.
Who's the next person?
Michelle Roberts. Before, would you like to do that? Hey, let's, Amy, Kevin, we're gonna take a 5-minute
Take 5.
break. Take 5. Thank you. Good. No, it's always. Thank you. Our 5-minute break, and we're ready to start with the interviews.
Good evening. Hi, Sammy. This is Amy. You probably can't.
Amy, I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
Can you hear me okay? Can
Now
you
I
hear me, Sammy?
I can
Can
hear
you
you.
hear me now? Okay. I have the first question for you. Please keep in mind that we do have a 4-minute limit on questions, and they're not for each question, it's for all the questions. So the first question is, as a board member, what do you see as your primary purpose or primary role?
Oh, as a board member, I believe the board is responsible for policies and for budgetary oversight.
Okay. What are the most significant strengths you would bring to the position? In what areas might you need some training or assistance?
Okay. Well, I have over 20 years of budgetary experience and also policy creation and review, approximately the same amount of time. I have 4 years experience on a school board.
Okay. And lastly, how do you go about finding out what parents and community members are thinking?
I ask for things that are happening in the schools. I talk to other parents. I talk to kids in the schools. And also try to talk to the community members because they are also an integral part of a school district. And I not only obviously people I know, but then I try to seek out people at events and other things like that to get their opinions on what's happening, find out what they know about the schools or what they don't know about the schools and that kind of thing.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have any further questions from the board?
No further questions, but were we going to ask each candidate if they had anything further they'd like to share?
Let's do that. I think
Yeah.
that's right, exactly. It looks like we have a little bit of additional time. Sammy, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Just that I am a strong support of the school district. I've been volunteering in it in one way or another for the past 12 years. I'm a strong believer in public education, and I think that we should, as a school district, provide every opportunity we can to all of the children in a way that they need, and to provide them the best possible success in life. And that is an individual thing and for each kid. But I think as a school district, it's our obligation to try and make the best educated children we can.
Thank you, Sammy.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Bruce.
Sammy, if we're going to ask you to go ahead and wait, and we're going to call in the next person, we'll get back to you. We'll pull you back into the Zoom session should you become finalist.
Okay, thank you.
Hello. Hi, Michelle.
I'm going to be asking you a few questions. You have 4-minute limit for all 3 questions.
Okay.
Okay. As a board member, what do you see as your primary purpose or primary role?
Well, definitely the role of the board is to be advocates for the parents, staff, and most importantly for the students. I mean, that's what you're here for, is to help the students be successful, whatever that looks like.
Okay. What are the most significant strengths you would bring to the position? In what areas might you need some training or assistance?
Strengths would be probably my experience with, even with my own children. I have 2 completely different sides of the spectrum. I have kids who have graduated from North Bend High School who are now in college, and I have a student with a very extensive IEP. And so I have experience with both and could bring that experience to the board. Also, I have served on other boards. South Coast Aquatic Team, I was on their board, a couple different church boards in the past. And I'm a team player, and really my heart is for the kids.
Okay. How do you go about finding out what parents and community members are thinking?
Well, the number one thing would be to listen to them. The board, last year I came to a lot of the board meetings to be a part of the process, and at least be a silent observer. But we have to be able to listen, and we have to be able to be available to listen to the parents and to listen to the staff and teachers. And
okay, we have a little bit of additional time. Is there anything you would like to add?
Well, I would love to have the opportunity to be a part of the process of helping our kids be successful. Not only my own kids, but when my husband and I got married 23 years ago, our desire was to live in North Bend and have our kids go to North Bend schools. And so, my heart is North Bend. And my heart is for each child to be successful, whatever that looks like, whether they are college bound or with an extensive IEP. Each child can be successful in their own way. And as a board, your job is to give each child as much success as you can and to give the tools to the people who can do that. So that's what I would want to be able to contribute to the board.
Okay, thank you very much, Michelle.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, they can still.
Okay.
Evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Board chair, board members,
Hello, Raymond.
administration staff.
I'm going to be asking the questions tonight, and
Okay.
if they'll just address them to the board, your answers to the board. We have 4 minutes for all the questions. Okay,
Does the board have the list of names? I think just so that they know. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
Ray Marshall, by the way.
this is Raymond Marshall. Do you like to go by Raymond or Ray?
Doesn't matter.
All right. The first question is, as a board member, what do you see as your primary purpose or primary role?
I would assume that budgeting and policy for the board members, and then Kevin, I would assume, would do the implementation of the policies that the board puts together. Other than that, basically.
Okay. What are the most significant strengths you would bring to the position? In what areas might you need training or assistance?
As far as training, I'm sure that there is some that needs to be done. Not familiar, this would be my first time at this type of deal. Strengths would be, I worked for the district for 5 years. I know some of the issues that the district faces. Also, budgeting, I had my own business for a few years, and so I know about that part of personnel, budgeting, and I don't know, just getting along with people, also with I had all this planned out, but word lost. Open-mindedness and taking care of yeah, terrible at this, but it's not my strong suit. But open-mindedness and working together with everybody, just, basically from that, we can go on.
How do you go about finding out what parents and community members are thinking?
Go about how they, well, meetings, number one, and just basically talking to staff. District staff, if that's possible. I don't know how, other than just communication. Would
Okay.
be to figure out what the mood is and what their concerns are.
Okay, we have a little bit of extra time. Is there anything you'd like to add?
I don't know, I made some notes, but district policies, basically, monitoring the budget, approving district contracts for building improvements, implementation of day-to-day operations, review regulations for compliance, state compliance, and district provide guidance for the budget development, and ensure funding for established goals, monitor the budgets, establish approved policies, review regulations for compliance, hiring, evaluation, and district superintendent. Just help influence the district budget, share business and life experience, basically, and to serve the community if possible.
Okay.
So,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Thank you.
I know that was poor, but
No,
thank you.
very good. Thank you, Raymond. Am I too loud?
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Luke.
Hi, Amy. Oh, I guess, am I addressing you or?
No, you're going to address the
Okay.
board, but I'm going to ask the questions. Okay.
Sounds good.
The first question is, as a board member, what do you see as your primary purpose or primary role?
Think probably primary purpose of me as a board member, or the board as a whole, just kind of dictating, budget, I think is going to be a big one. And then trying to figure out where to best spend the money that's going to benefit the kids and the teachers in the district as a whole. And it's huge responsibility, obviously, for you guys and whoever's on the board. And then negotiating contract, which also kind of goes in with the budget side of things. So, I mean, money, probably I would say it's going to be the number one issue for everything.
Okay. What are the most significant strengths you would bring to the position? In what areas might you need some training or assistance?
I think some significant strengths that I might have, probably being able to take a step back from any situation and looking at it from all angles and being able to try and decide what's best for all parties involved, between, like I said, everybody, the board, the teachers, all district employees, and number one being the kids. And that's probably going to be my strength. And certainly some of my weaknesses, I don't really know a whole heck of a lot about school boards. I've never been on a school board. I've done some reading about them, in preparation for, wanting to be on a school board, but bottom line, I don't know all the decisions that you guys make and what you deal with. But I'm certainly willing to learn, go to training, online classes, whatever it may be.
Lastly, how do you go about finding out what parents and community members are thinking?
For me personally, I don't really know, but I know that them coming to board meetings would be good, and then having some type of an online communication, and then getting probably a read from the teachers and principals and obviously superintendent. They're going to know a lot what's going on with the parents and students, and being a father of a third grader, I have a lot of friends that have kids within the school district, and just trying to get a feel for the whole community.
Okay, we have a little bit of extra time. Is there anything you'd like to add?
I not really, other than just, I'd be very excited to be on the board and help make decisions to make the school district better in any way that we can, and try to find, hopefully pass a bond. I think that would be huge for the school district, obviously, any funding. And I'm very optimistic about North Bend and Coos County's future. And as a whole, I think that there's hopefully going to be big businesses coming in, with in reference to the North Spit getting the shipping container terminal. If that comes in, I think that will draw in more businesses, which is obviously going to draw in more families, more students to the school district, more funding, and hopefully more hirees. And if we can get the better people in the school, it's just going to draw more people to the school, as far as students, and which would bring more funding. And I just think that I'm very optimistic about North Bend's future. I'll say that. So,
Excellent. Thank you.
Yep.
If you have nothing further, you can wait till the
Okay.
next. Till we're
thank you
finished.
guys. Thanks for your time. Thanks for
Thank
the
you.
opportunity to talk to you.
Hi, Frank.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. I'm Frank.
Hello.
Hi,
I'm going to be asking the questions, and if you'll address your answers to the board.
perfect.
Okay. The first question is, as a board member, what do you see as your primary purpose or primary role?
Developing long-term policies that develop children from their earliest school years all the way through, so that when they are done, they are able to contribute in the community and society and be prepared for whatever vocation that they choose. There's a lot of emphasis on computer training, but we need a lot of people that can work with their hands. And so I think you have to have some of both. Having children able to communicate, reason, develop critical thinking is very important. And I like to be part of setting policies in the school system, again, that starts early in developing those skills.
Okay. What are the most significant strengths that you would bring to the position, and what areas might you need some training or assistance?
Okay, so what got me interested in doing this, I retired at 55. And when I was 60, my granddaughter came to live with me to go to college. And I was teasing her that I'd get better grades than you. She goes, okay, Grandpa, you got to go as well. So I did. And what I ended up doing was seeing students were just totally unprepared for adulthood or for college. So as part of that process, I was able to do a number of study groups in 5 different subjects. And of course, in study groups, you talk more than just what's going on at school, but how to be an adult. And I did that for 2 years. And just for the record, I did get better grades than my granddaughter.
How do you go about finding out what parents and community members are thinking?
Oh, go back for just 1 second.
Oh, sure.
On what do I need training in? I'm not as young as they are. I don't listen to the same music they do. So some of that I know I would have to understand a little bit. But I'm a computer guy anyway. And third question, sorry.
That's okay. Third question is, how do you go about finding out what parents and community members are thinking?
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to go back one more time.
Okay.
Strengths. I worked in business in the high-tech industry. I worked in operations, I worked in finance, I did contract negotiations, I was a facilitator for a number of different committees, even running an ethics committee in a large corporation. So the ability to get people coordinated and thinking in the same direction, I believe is a very significant strength that I have, that allows me to identify value and toss out items that may not be of value to whatever subject we are dealing with. Okay, third question.
How do you go about finding out what parents and community members are thinking?
You talk to them. I'm active in the community. I'm active in the church that I belong to. I run a men's ministry. I do weekend work in the community. And you talk to parents and you talk to them first and understanding why they believe something needs to get changed, and dig a little further and what's the background of your children? What have you taught them? What values are they not getting at school? And you take it from there.
I think we're good.
Thank you all. Appreciate the time. Thank you, Brandon.
Frank, you can wait in here if you'd like to, while we go through the rest of the interviews.
Not there.
Okay, okay, thank
Good
you.
evening,
Hello.
Nathan McClintock. I want to thank you for wearing a suit because I'm feeling overdressed. But anyway,
Hi, Nathan.
hi,
I'm Amy,
yes,
and I'm going to be asking the questions to you, but if you'll please address your answers to the board.
absolutely.
Thank you. The first question is, as a board member, what do you see as your primary purpose or primary role?
Well, as a board member, you're a policymaker. You're not implementing the policy. That's for administration. We're trying to make decisions at I guess the higher level in terms of what is best for the students throughout the school district. And I'm the city attorney for the city of Coos Bay, so I have been working with their council, so I'm very familiar with the process. That's the bottom line is, we don't want to micromanage. We don't want to micromanage. That's why Kevin's here to do your bidding, so to speak, on a day-to-day basis. That's basically it.
What are the most significant strengths you would bring to the position? In what areas might you need some training or assistance?
I'll start with training. I mean, I've actually been on a board, Kingsview, years and years ago. I was on their board for a couple of years when my older kids went there. But I need to learn more about the school district and how this board is functioning. There's no doubt about that. But my strengths, I'm open to new ideas. I'm not stuck on a particular agenda. I think we have to keep open minds about a situation like this. I realize that there's a board here, there's at least 4 of you need to make a decision. And I've seen in my situation over the city that sometimes someone gets on the board and they've got some ideas and we're going to make it happen. And well, it takes 4 to make the decision, or even more than 4. And you can't be frustrated when your ideas are not implemented. You need to work as a team because you are a team. And if you don't work as a team, it's just dysfunctional. And from my understanding, you guys have worked very well in the past. And the only reason I'm asking now is because there's an open seat. I didn't really want to challenge any of you guys there, so.
Okay. Lastly, how do you go about finding out what parents and community members are thinking?
Well, I think you need to ask, you need to be open to, once you're on the board, I'm sure this happens, people will call you, they'll email you. They want to know what's going on. They want answers. And to the extent you as policymakers can give those kind of answers, I think it's important. But talking to them, they're going to tell you what their problems are or their concerns are. And sometimes you can help them with that. Sometimes you're going to have to refer them to administration. But that's how you learn. And I know there's not only meetings here and people coming telling you what their concerns are. People out there, there's meetings, other activities. You don't just come here and sit at this council and there's the board meeting. There's other things you have to do. And I think in that context, you learn a lot of different things in terms of what the public wants. And unfortunately, sometimes what the public want is not the right thing. And it's your decision to make, what you think is the right thing for, at least at a policy level.
Okay. How much time do we have?
I don't know.
30
Oh,
seconds?
30 or 31 seconds.
If there's anything you'd like to add, that's how much time.
One of the
we have.
reasons I'm here is I have two daughters, are either freshmen at North Bend High School. And I was a little concerned last year. I think it's a COVID situation, with the civility and it's this within the classrooms and such that needs, I think, some attention. And I've heard talk about that, the challenging behavior. And I think COVID has a lot to do with that. And I think there's work to be done to help address that. And by addressing that, helpful maybe as a society as a whole, maybe we could be a little more civil. There's my time. Where's my time?
That's it.
That's it.
Thank you, Nate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you can feel free to wait in here for the rest of the interviews if you like.
Hello.
Hi, are you Joe?
Yep.
Hi, Joe. I'm Amy.
Amy.
I'm going to be asking the questions tonight,
Okay.
and if you'll address your answers to the board. First question is, as a board member, what do you see as your primary purpose or primary role?
Well, it's all about the kids, as far as I'm concerned. I think that we need to make sure that the schools are run so that they have a good education. I think we need to have the buildings and the proper background in that. I have two grandkids coming up that are just in lower grade school, so I'm real curious to see how things go down the road with them. I just think being a board member is a lot of responsibility and would like to help.
Okay. What are the most significant strengths you bring to the position? In what areas might you need some training or assistance?
I've always been a very positive person. In my work history all throughout my life, working, I'm retired now, but I've always ended up being like in charge of whatever I was doing or managing a lot of people. I've done that in coaching for the last 30 years. I've coached baseball here in North Bend. Been president of Little League back in the 90s, been on the board of Little League and Babe Ruth, and coach now at the high school. So I think in all that, building the kids and the attitude and the background as far as working, my goal, my thing was always early is on time. So if you're late, you're late. Building good attitude and stuff in kids.
Okay. How do you go about finding out what parents and community members are thinking?
Well, I'd ask questions. I think the biggest thing is don't be afraid to ask questions. That's bad. Questions.
Okay. We have a little bit of extra time. Is there anything you'd like to add?
Just I would like to get involved. I haven't really been involved other than baseball coaching for a long time. And with my grandkids coming up, I think it's important with the school bonds failing. I was very depressed about that because I think schools, churches, and different facilities in our community is what it's a fabric that we need to keep going. And hopefully we'll get a school bond passed and we'll be able to do some good things. But unfortunately, the time of the bond going to the people, I think was a bad time, but it's the way it works. But I would like to be active in that, seeing that goes through, because I think that's a positive thing for everybody.
Okay, thank you.
That's it. Thanks.
And Joe, you can wait
Thank you.
in the room if you'd like to watch the rest of the interviews. Next up, we have Barbara Bowder. Hi, Barb.
Hi, how are you all?
Doing good. You know me, I'm Amy.
I do know you.
I'm going to be asking you the questions tonight.
Oh, okay.
But if you'd like to address your answers to the board,
All right.
you have 4 minutes. If we have a little bit of extra time, we can add something on the end, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so the first question is, as board member, what do you see as your primary purpose or primary role?
I would think it would be to serve the parents and students of the North Bend School District, providing a strong education, activities and opportunities Both my boys went through North Bend and graduated, and they were very active in the school. And I felt like they got a well-rounded education and opportunities that were presented to them.
Okay. What are the most significant strengths you would bring to the position? In what areas might you need some training or assistance?
Well, I've served, I've had numbers of jobs. I worked at Menasha Corporation for 16 years as their HR and PR person. So HR gave me, a lot of insight into people and personalities and job requirements. Then I went to the Oregon Community Foundation, started that South Coast office here. Giving back to the community through the foundation was really worthwhile, and I got to know lots of people. And I just retired from Bay Area Hospital as their, I was on the executive team, and I did the foundation, our Kids Hope Center, the marketing and PR. And so I feel like I have quite a bit that I could offer in terms of sort of a well-rounded background, but I did site councils in North Bend through all 3 schools, but I haven't served at, at the board level. So, but I've been on other boards.
Okay. How do you go about finding out what parents and community members are thinking?
Well, I talk a lot. And so I know how to ask questions, and I'm very inquisitive. And so I think try to get to the pulse of what the community and parents and kids are needing and wanting. And so I guess I would just find out. I mean, I have a good sense of what's been going on with schools, although my kids graduated several years ago. But I think the COVID, couple years were difficult for families and kids in terms of what their needs might be. I personally don't think I could have learned well on Zoom. So I think that kids needed that interaction with their teachers so that they could get to know each other, particularly at the younger ages. I can't imagine teaching a kindergartner how to read on Zoom. So I think I would just try to get out and figure out what the pulse of the community is and what people might need.
Okay. How much time do we have left on the timer?
1 minute and
1
13.
minute?
Did I talk fast?
No, you've got some extra time. Is there anything else you'd like to add to the board?
I guess I'd be interested to know what you all are looking for. You're filling Spencer's spot, I know, and you all have been on the board different amounts of time, and you must have an idea of the kind of person that you're looking to fill that seat.
This is a time for you to let them know what you would like them to know.
Okay, well, I mean, if I'm selected, it'd be nice to, I don't know everyone, so
Sure.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
And you're welcome to wait here. You're welcome to wait here in the room if you'd like for
Okay.
the rest of the interviews. Okay, next up, we have Bill Witharm. He's coming. Yes, he's coming. Hi, Bill.
Hello.
I'm Amy,
Hello, Amy.
and I'm going to be asking you the questions
Okay.
tonight, but please address your answers to the board.
Okay, good.
Okay. The first question is, as a board member, what do you see as your primary purpose or primary role?
Well, as a board member, my primary role would be to serve the community that we're a part of. So school board, I would say, making sure our kids have the proper foundation and education through you, working with the teachers and principals and the other bodies that make the schools, kindergartens through senior years efficient and run smoothly. So I think that's the primary role.
Okay. What are the most significant strengths you would bring to this position? In what areas might you need some training or assistance?
So strengths, I've been a part of this community since we moved here, like for the last 19 years. I've volunteered on multiple boards, including the South Coast Aquatic Team Board, the Coos Bay Brookings Referee Soccer board for high school officials for soccer. And then, so I have experience as a president, secretary, and currently a signer for high school sports. But weaknesses, with said experiences, South Coast Aquatic Team, for example, when they were struggling with getting volunteers, I'm a doer. So micromanaging might be a little weakness of mine, because when the board fails, I went into hyper mode, and I did. And I've learned to basically embrace the strengths of the others in the boards. So that was a weakness, but also a strength, because I've learned over the years that I can't do everything. So there you go.
Okay. How do you go about finding out what parents and community members are thinking?
Okay, so again, being active in the community, I have good relations with people. I've been with soccer for a long time in this community, so to this day I still have connections there. Swimming, I have connections, and then my kids have all gone to the schools here, so I'm in touch with my parents. I've taught at Christ Lutheran School as a PE teacher for 4 years, so I see parents around here, and I talk, and there's people in the room like Mike Forrester, for example, who a couple of days ago we butted heads over an issue, but that is just life in a small town. And I feel being active in every realm possible, but not being overcommitted, is something that helps me understand what's going on in the community. So
We have a little bit of extra time left. Is there anything you would like to add to the board?
I'm just excited to see these people show up, because being in the back room, there's people who want to help. So if you don't pick me, I think you have some really good candidates here that will do you the justice. So thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank
You
you.
can wait in the room for the rest of the interviews if you like. Next up, we have Alice Carlson. Hi, Alice. I'm Amy. I'm the one you've been emailing with, and I'll
Oh,
be
thank you
asking
so much.
You're so welcome. I'm going to be asking you the questions tonight,
Okay.
but if you'll address your answers to the board.
Okay.
Okay. As a board member, what do you see as your primary purpose or primary role?
I think that the primary purpose of the board member is to do what's best for kids. Maintaining the fact that the school district has certain legal responsibilities, and there are certain policies that you have to live with, but every single decision needs to be made in terms of what's best for kids. That's such a cliche, but it's true.
Okay. What are the most significant strengths you bring to the position? In what areas might you need some training or assistance?
So one of the reasons why I did apply was because I've been around schools my whole life, and I know that there is a really steep learning curve, and that this is a position that is short-term. And I thought it might be a benefit to have someone who could, excuse the phrase, hit the ground running. So what I bring to this is that I do know a lot about schools. I know a lot about how they operate. I do know quite a bit about this community, having lived here. I moved here to teach in North Bend schools in 1971. So I've lived here in this community for a long time. I communicate a lot, communicate quite effectively in most cases, this probably being the exception, but I have taught communication. I've learned to listen to all sides. I've learned to consider how one can move a project forward involving everyone and listening to all sides. I get along pretty well with my community. I'm a community volunteer. I think that's probably enough.
Okay, that's all right. The last question I have for you is how do you go about finding out what parents and community members are thinking?
Well, I think you go talk to people. I think you go where people are and not just people that you think are going to tell you what you want to hear. But I think that, you know, you go talk to your neighbors, and if your neighborhood is like mine, there's a wide diversity of thought in the neighborhood, and you just ask people what they think. And when you're in the checkout line at the supermarket, you ask people what they think. There are all kinds of formal ways to get people to tell you what they think. You do a participation session at the beginning of every meeting, but a lot of times you only get the people with an axe to grind or a cause to promote. You don't get just the people who pay their taxes and support the schools. You also don't hear necessarily from people who don't like what's going on, but don't feel passionately involved. I just think you have to ask people, make it known that you're a board member, and then ask people what they think.
Okay, Alice, we have a little bit of extra time. Is there anything you'd like to add to tell the board?
Well, I did go online and researched what probably this OSBA says it makes a good school board member. And the thing that I have forgotten to tell you is how passionate I am about public education. I do believe public education is absolutely important. I don't believe that the public schools can meet the needs of every single child, but I think we should try. I am committed to public involvement. I can make decisions. I do believe in the democratic process. I have the time and energy. I am perfectly aware that the majority rules in this country, and I have to accept and support what other people say. And I can certainly stand up for my convictions and respect district employees.
Okay, thank you, Alice. You're welcome to stay in the room for the rest of the interviews if you like.
Yeah, there's just one lady left. She's very lonely in there.
There's only one lady left.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll find out who it is. Do you happen to know if her name is Dana or Raylee? You don't know? Okay. Hi. Back there all by yourself. I'm sorry, but I don't know if you're Dana or Raylee.
Oh, I'm Raylee.
You're Raylee.
I'm Raylee.
I'm Amy. I'm
I
the board
needed-
secretary.
Thank you. I know. I was in communication with you. Yes.
So
Oh,
I
sorry
wanted
you're
to-
leaving.
I wanted to let you know
Sure.
that I'm going to be asking you the questions tonight,
Okay.
but if you'll please address your answers to the
Okay.
board. Okay? And let's get started. Ready?
Yes. I'm ready.
Okay, as a board member, what do you see as your primary purpose or primary role?
Well, my primary purpose is to figure out what's involved in being a board member, because I really don't truly know. I mean, I looked at some of the, websites and the state sites and whatnot, and, I just don't know. So I have a lot to learn.
Okay. What are the most significant strengths that you would bring to the position? In what areas might you need some training or assistance?
Well, I definitely need a lot of training. I feel that just generally speaking, I will workforce for a while, and I've never been a school board member, and I haven't attended a lot of meetings. So I think that I'm a hard worker, and I think I have a lot of tenacity, and I would follow through and ask questions, and I don't assume to know things, so I wait and find out. So I think I'm in a collaboration I'm pretty good at, but I'm real back-paged, so I keep a lot of notes. You see brought my notes with me.
Okay. I bring my notes with me all the time too.
Yeah.
The last question I have for you is, how do you go about finding out what parents and community members are thinking?
Well, I think that's involvement with the community. So you end up being at different events, and you talk to people, you listen to people. I think that's one of the things I'm working on, rather than to talk so much, but to listen more. And I think there's a lot of commonality in this community. I think it's a good community. I think there's people that care about this area and their children, and just the general living environment. I think that's generally true. And when you let people speak their minds and share their thoughts, I think there's a lot that you discover that you have in common. So yeah,
Okay.
I think I would do it through one-on-one is my better than, a big group thing. So probably a lot of one-on-one stuff.
Okay. We have a little bit of extra time. Is there anything that you would like to add to let the board know about yourself?
No, I thought we, as a group, we figured out that I was the last one to put in my, whatever, my letter, application letter. So we figured that. I thought we all felt pretty smart, at least the last of us, that we had determined what that was. And that kind of made me laugh and smile. I know that one way or the other, I will be more involved. This is just an example of what needs to be done, involvement. It's at least to hear what's going on and, what's happening, and as far as the source and the monies involved, that's the financial part of it. And I'm interested in that, but I don't even pretend to know. So lots to learn.
Okay.
Good for me.
Anything else?
No, I really don't have anything else.
Okay.
I think I've said more than enough
All right.
babbling.
Thanks, Rayleigh.
You bet.
Go ahead and have a seat.
Okay.
Okay, well, thanks. We had some very good candidates, some very good responses. And now it's time for the board to vote. And in this first vote, we've got ballots with our names written on them. And the plan for this one is that we vote or write down our candidate we want to vote for, turn them in, and I'll read the results. And then if there's four for one person, well, hallelujah, we're done. And then if not, we'll probably go through another couple rounds of voting. And those will be roll call votes, the future ones. So with that, go ahead and write down your candidate. Yeah, please.
This was the. In case someone against me.
This will be faster than election night results, don't worry.
We have to for days.
I have the results. Results are in. Okay, we have Michelle Roberts received 2 votes. Nathan McClintock received 2 votes. Ray Marshall received 1 vote. And Frank Despain received 1 vote. So in order to be appointed, we have to have 4 votes for 1 person. So with that, would we like to go ahead and just do another roll call vote? You guys want to think about it? Do you want to? Circle. Sure. So just to repeat that, 2 for Michelle Roberts, 2 for Nathan McClintock, 1 for Ray Marshall, 1 for Frank Despain. We'll take a minute or so to cogitate. That's from the Latin cogitus.
Hey, Jim,
Yeah. Yes, sir.
is there a way we could have another runoff with the two top candidates?
I do have additional questions prepared if you want to do that.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
With the top two, with Michelle and
Would
you.
the board,
Yeah.
would the board like to do that?
No,
No?
I mean, honestly, no. I think, I don't care. I mean, I don't want one person.
I also have another set of cards prepared if you want to do another blind vote.
Do you want to do that?
I'm okay with one more blind, but or one more
Is that
vote
okay
like
with you
this.
guys? Mhm.
Okay. We have, let me tally the results here. Okay, vote number 2, Michelle Roberts received 2 votes. Nathan McClintock received 3, and Ray Marshall received 1. So that would the board like to, we could go ahead and ask some additional questions.
I have one last set of cards as well.
We can do
I was prepared for 3 if we needed it.
Should we do 3 and then at that point ask more questions?
I'm open to that.
Okay.
Want to burn that last card?
Third time's a charm.
I guess while they're doing that, their names are on the card, so this isn't anonymous. Actually, if there's a request for who voted for who, we actually will provide that. So this is kind of a way for them to vote without really necessarily influencing each other at this particular moment. They will have their opportunity to influence each other if they want. So I just want to be that clear that this isn't anonymous, it's a public meeting. They can't do anonymous voting. So their names are on the cards.
How many votes does that they get
We can't elect someone without 4 votes, so someone needs to get 4. Yep. You've done your campaign, Rick. People might have a chance to, so. If they need a little bit of help here, they may do that.
I think I need to run them through the machine one more time. Okay. Here's what we got. Michelle Roberts received 3 votes. Nathan McClintock received 3 votes.
Okay.
We'll print about 6, 7 more cards.
I'm at your service. Tell me what you want to do.
You're down to 2. I think you guys can talk this one out.
Can we
Tend
ask
to
some
agree.
additional questions?
Yes, we could do
Let's
that.
do that.
Shall we call up Michelle first?
Yep.
Michelle, can you come up, please?
This is not my forte right here.
And we're not going to time this. Okay, we're going to go ahead and we'll give you what you need to answer this question. Okay. It's kind of long, so bear with me. What will you do to become more effective as a board member? By the same token, should you become a board member, can you devote the time and energy required to attend trainings and other district events?
I absolutely can. I did decide to homeschool my 8th grader this year, but I do not work outside of the home. I am very willing to do whatever training, and I actually realized I didn't answer that part of the question. I was just too nervous. So as far as weakness, I don't have any training to be on the board, but I'm very willing to do whatever training needed, and I have the time and the energy and the willingness to put in whatever time I need to be able to do that. Did I answer? I don't know what, if you.
Would you like me to read you the question?
Yeah, please.
Okay, what will you do to become more effective as a board member? By the same token, should you become a board member, can you devote the time and energy required to attend trainings and other district events?
Yeah, so as far as being effective, I just want to be willing and available to do whatever part I need to be an effective member of the board.
Are we going to go with more than one question? Or are we going to stick with one for both? Okay, thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
Welcome back, Nathan.
Thank you. Feel honored to have 3 votes.
Would you like me to read the question again?
Yes, if you would, that'd be nice.
What will you do to become more effective as a board member? By the same token, should you become a board member, can you devote the time and energy required to attend trainings and district events?
Well, you talk about attending trainings, that's how you become more effective. I think when I was talking to you earlier, you asked weaknesses. Well, I've not been on this board before, and I need that kind of training, the kind of training you're talking about. That's, I think, looking forward to doing that. In terms of time, I'm an attorney, but I'm in the process of trying to slow down my litigation practice. That's one of the reasons I kind of put my name in the hat. I'm hoping to retire from my practice in a few months, hopefully, depending how things go. And a year ago, 2 years ago, I wouldn't have the time for it, but as I see it, I would have the time now to do it. One of the reasons I was slowing down is because I want to spend more time with my kids as they're going to high school and are in soccer and doing that kind of stuff, band. But this is part of it as well, to make them their school situation better. But it's of course not just about them; it's about all the kids. And I think devoting time is necessary. And there are times where you have to make sacrifices, as I'm sure you well know. And I'm willing to do that. I'm here tonight rather than with the family, but you guys are too. That's what we do to help up our kids and the community. So.
Okay, thank you very much, Nathan.
Okay.
How do you
Roll-
vote?
Yeah. Roll call vote. You guys okay with that? Yeah, so.
Sure.
So
Why don't
I'll
we-
go down and I'll call out the names, and if you'll give me your vote, then I can
Sure.
put it down on the tally sheet. Okay, Mary, let's start with you.
Michelle,
Julie,
Michelle,
Stephen,
Nathan.
Christina,
Nathan,
Eric,
Nathan.
Jim,
Michelle.
we are at 3-3.
That math works.
One more vote? Or wait till the elections is made?
So we're at 3-3. We've had, let's see, 2 3-3 votes.
Maybe that executive session we should still have.
So one more question and one more vote and call it a night. And
Do we have the ability to just talk as a board between ourselves?
Yeah, you can
Yes.
deliberate.
So,
Yes.
Yeah.
but not in open session?
No.
Yeah.
No,
Okay,
they
so
have
we
to be in
can't-
open.
one more,
We can do another question. I don't know that it's gonna matter.
it probably
Yeah,
won't.
No.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah, with us two leave?
We can leave and you guys can talk a little more privately without embarrassment.
I don't,
I don't think it's gonna change. Yeah. Thank you for the offer though, David. Appreciate it.
So what happens if it remains 3-3 at this point?
You have the option of not electing anyone. You have the option of running another interview request for letters of interest and running another interview session. Or you have the option of not doing anything and running as a six-member board until the next election period.
And let the citizens of North Bend select the next board member for the vacancy in May. Which if we,
Sign for Michelle.
so, just being transparent, that would be my preference. If we can, I'm happy to vote one more time, but if we can't reach
right.
an agreement, I'm happy for the citizens to.
I just appreciate that folks coming out to want to do this. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
there's not really a bad choice between either of those two, but we are gonna have our reasons for one versus the other. And if we're not going to be able to, if there's just, this isn't going to change, then I don't see why we waste anybody else's time.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
That's it.
How does that affect later if you have a time? I think you're voting.
Then whatever it is, doesn't matter.
A lot of stuff doesn't get done.
It's very effective. That we should maybe say.
Well, some things, this can get left to the voters, which I'm happy to do. My preference would be that we reach a decision this evening, but understand. Would we like to vote one more time or?
I mean, we can. If we just want to do it so we can hear ourselves say this,
Yeah.
we can do it again.
Someone may have changed their mind by now.
Maybe.
Let's do it one more time. It'll be the 5th and we'll call it. This will be the last time
Okay,
on this and we'll move on to the next agenda item.
Eric, how would you like to vote? Julie?
Michelle?
Stephen?
Nathan.
Mary?
Michelle.
Christina?
Nathan?
And Jim?
Michelle. We did it 5 times. Thank you for your patience and showing up in a lot of
What is the
passion.
final decision of the board? Is it the decision of the board to wait until the election? To not fill the position? I'll need to make note of it in the minutes, is the only reason I asked.
Should we until the voters have a chance to decide
Okay,
at this point?
Someone want to make a motion to that effect? Do you want to make a motion?
Sure.
I don't
I'll
know.
go ahead.
I don't know that it's necessary.
Okay,
I don't know that that's necessary. If it's by consensus, the board is by consensus that we'll be waiting till the election to fill the position.
Yeah.
Then I can note that in the minutes.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, next agenda item, and thank you for everyone coming and this is representative government at work, and sometimes we don't all agree or reach a consensus. With that, item 11, board comments.
That was interesting. Like, I have to again reiterate that I appreciate everybody's willingness to even just be here, and be a part of this system, this process. And that hopefully we see some yard signs for the next vote. It's gonna be, having never been through this kind of process on a board like this, that was something else. But it's nice to see the citizens in North Bend show up and say, I want to be a part of the school system. I want to be a part of my kids or my grandkids or my nieces and nephews. It means a lot that you even came out here to show your support for the people in your life and the district itself. And I thank you.
Well said. Any other board?
I
Sorry.
just thank you very much to everyone that applied. Great information. Thank you for your effort.
Nothing personal. Thank you so much, you guys, for showing interest to do this. Takes a lot of guts. We appreciate it.
Okay, item 12, information only. Kevin, enrollment numbers.
I shared my enrollment in my board report. They
Okay.
are there. If there's questions, we'll obviously be putting enrollment numbers on a monthly basis, but yeah, it's positive at this point. So we're in the plus.
Good. And with that, we will adjourn at 8:10. Thank you for coming out this evening.
Now we're just gonna have to agree a lot better. We have to work together better as a team.
Yeah, they have.